9, Britney Spears' ex-husband this week became a father for the 6th time. So if you see him, let him know.
May is National Masturbation Month, so stop knocking on my dressing room door. I thought they'd like that, Colin.
Better you than me. A high-end fashion brand is selling a pair of jeans for $800, which appear to have a pee stain on the front. Jeans with a pee stain on the front? Please, I can make those in my sleep. C-SPAN suspended host Steve Scully after he admitted to falsely claiming that his Twitter account was hacked. Wow, just more juicy drama from those messy bitches at C-SPAN.
Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema, who looks like all the Flintstones at once, announced that she is retiring from the Senate. But I doubt any of us will ever forget the name of Senator Crystal Salmonella. All right. Nikki Haley received an endorsement from New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu, which would be helpful if anyone knew who that was. McDonald's is releasing a new Grandma McFlurry, which they say tastes like Grandma's favorite treats that she hid in her purse. It's a combination of butterscotch, crunchy candy pieces, and a big black vibrator. Okay. No? Or should I say littlest? Oh, your war with Drake may be over, but your war with Michael Che is just beginning. So to quote Hamilton, shoot your shot, player.
Several Trump White House staff members told the January 6th committee that if Trump made an unscripted statement in the middle of the attack, he would have made the situation worse. And I think that's a pretty sound argument. No one has ever been like, you know who would be perfect to de-escalate this situation? I just don't think that the average American is scared that they're going to lose their job for withholding military aid for Ukraine. This protest was so lame that halfway through the Republicans ordered a pizza. And a reporter took this photo, and my favorite part is this staff member's reaction when she saw the pizzas. It's the kind of expression that says, ooh, something very big has just happened.
During his acceptance speech, Will Smith said, "Love will make you do crazy things." You know what else makes you do crazy things? Crazy. But I understand where Will's coming from. I mean, you can't expect him to sit there and watch another man jump all over his wife without signing. Come on, of course Trump is on a thank you tour. That's his element. He loves having a big audience. That's why he's constantly on Twitter. You think he likes having dinner with Mitt Romney? By the way, why does Mitt Romney look like an Instagram model being forced to take a picture with the man who just bought him a new butt?
Former President Trump said he would debate President Biden anytime, any place. And then he pointed to an empty podium on the stage. And now Trump and Biden are both polling 80 points behind the podium. An assistant principal in an elementary school in Mississippi was fired after he read the class a children's book, I Need a New Butt. The book is about a lovable rabbit who just ate at Chipotle. It was announced that a musical version of Lord of the Rings will open in Chicago. So if you love musicals and you love Lord of the Rings, high school must have been a tough time. Trust me, I know.
It's not a deal breaker, is it?
A man in California was arrested after he went to a Planet Fitness, took off his clothes, and threatened people with a knife, which, to be fair, is the only way Planet Fitness lets you cancel your membership. After President Biden's successful meeting with China's President Xi Jinping, reporters asked Biden if he still believed that Xi was a dictator. And I don't know if Biden was supposed to say yes, because look at this reaction from Secretary of State Antony Blinken. It was announced that Stumpy, a beloved Japanese cherry blossom tree in Washington, D.C., will be chopped down because of old age and because of its actions on January 6th.
I don't think that's going to make the show.
I think it did. I think someone screamed. A dog was rescued after it fell off a 50-foot cliff into a quarry. Next time, said Christy Nome.
Yeah.
A man in Canada stole an $8,000 guitar by hiding it in his pants. Police caught the man when he got an erection, and it sounded like this. Biden said the Hamas attack was like, quote, 15 9/11s. Okay, you can't go somewhere to calm people down and then start rating things in numbers of 9/11s. That is not a calm scale. It would be like if your doctor gave you Ambien and said, this will make you sleepier than 20 Cosbys. I'm hopeful now that Hillary can finally have some time for herself. Like the day after the election, she was already spotted hiking in the woods near her house. And weirdly, she had already grown out a full David Letterman retirement beard. Tuesday night marked the first night of Hanukkah, the Jewish celebration of how one word miraculously stretched into 8.
The University of Iowa announced that basketball star Caitlin Clark will have her jersey retired and replaced with an apron.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. The jury in his defamation case has ordered Donald Trump to pay writer E. Jean Carroll $83.3 million. And Trump is a billionaire, so obviously he immediately hit up your grandma for $5.
On Monday, Donald Trump testified under oath in his civil fraud trial, though technically he was never sworn in because the Bibles kept bursting into flames. Donald Trump said the results of the 2020 election should be overturned and called for the termination of the Constitution. Trump plans to terminate the Constitution by asking Herschel Walker to drive it to the clinic.
They ordered Trump to pay $83 million. That's how unlikable he is. For perspective, O.J. Simpson only had to pay $33 million for a double murder.
He didn't even do it.
Oh, okay, well. This Trump.
In Monday's Iowa caucuses, Ron DeSantis beat out Nikki Haley for second place. Well, that ought to put whatever this is on his face. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who looks like someone drew Ving Rhames with their eyes closed, endorsed Donald Trump. But remember, most Trump supporters only count him as 3/5 of an endorsement. Oh, boy.
After a judge issued a gag order against President Trump, Trump told reporters that the judge said, basically, I don't have the right to speak. Then he added, she's like literally killing me. Then he yelled, you're not even my real mom, and slammed his bedroom door. Kyle must have driven Trump crazy. The judge kept telling him to shut up. The jury made him pay triple what the victim asked for. Even the courtroom sketch artist made him look made him look like that lady who got her face ripped off by a monkey. The only way this could have gone worse for Trump is if they took away his businesses, which is, of course, what happens in next week's trial.
Insiders are concerned that President Biden's chances for re-election could be damaged by his unwavering support for Israel. But I think the bigger problem for Biden is that he is 6 years older than Israel. Shame on you. A 3-year-old girl from Texas has become the youngest person ever to visit all 63 U.S. national parks, unfortunately in the talons of an eagle. After Ron DeSantis endorsed Donald Trump, he called DeSantis a really terrific person and promised to stop calling him Ron DeSanctimonious. Well, it's like a wise man once said.
You can be the most worthless Republican in America, but if you kiss the ring, he'll say you're wonderful.
Well, John Kerry announced that he is stepping down as the U.S. climate envoy and is expected to focus on President Biden's re-election campaign. And it's not a great sign that Biden's campaign is a bigger emergency than climate change. In an interview on Fox News, presidential candidate Nikki Haley said that America has, quote, never been a racist country. Because if Americans were so racist, why did they have sex with their slaves? After the New Hampshire primary, Nikki Haley attacked Donald Trump and called out his, quote, senior moments, which made Trump so angry he almost ripped off the safety rails on his toilet. Ronna McDaniel was reelected as chair of the Republican National Committee in a closer-than-expected vote over challengers Harmet Dillon, MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, Twitter user CatTurd2, Kevin Sorbo, Kyle Rittenhouse, and, of course, Colin Jost.
Haley also called Trump totally unhinged and called for him to take a mental competency test. And here's some footage of Trump trying to buzz in with his answers.
Ding, 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 ding. Pshing, boom.
See, he's fine. Hasn't lost a step. Trump did have a slight stumble this week while talking about banks, and he introduced an interesting new term called debank. Republican Representative Derek Van Orden, who looks like if Santa stormed the Capitol, argued in front of legislation to bring whole milk back to school cafeterias, saying that almond milk wasn't milk because, quote, milk comes from a mammal. Then he whipped out his nipple and said, "Allow me to demonstrate."
We're also going to place strong protections to stop banks and regulators from trying to debank you. They want to debank you, and we're going to debank.
I don't know what the hell debank means, but he might have to take de-ambulance to see the doctor.
I'm really proud of that.
A Christmas photo released by the royal family features a bad Photoshop job where Prince Louis's finger appears to be missing. And this is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need it.
President Biden is planning to send the director of the CIA to broker a deal between Israel and Hamas because no one eases tensions in the Middle East quite like the CIA. The CIA is like the Draymond Green of peaceful solutions. During Congress's final day before the holiday break, the House passed legislation that would end a ban on whole milk in school cafeterias. Finally, let's get these kids thick. The man who attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer has been found guilty and is expected to be imprisoned until Trump's first day back as president. He gonna win. Yeah. A new report shows that since the abortion ban took effect in Texas, the number of teenagers in the state giving birth rose for the first time in 15 years, which is terrible news for Texas, but great news for my new store, Michael Che's maternity prom dresses.
After Trump was photographed with some strange red marks on his hand, some dermatologists speculated it could be something called hand herpes. What the hell is hand herpes? Said Tim Scott.
I like this crowd.
Yeah. Lily Gladstone is the first Native American woman to be nominated for Best Actress. That's right. It's a historic moment her fellow nominees are calling, "Please don't let us win." A Volvo crashed through the front of a Whole Foods in a Maryland suburb. It was an accident so white that everyone's insurance went down. A passenger on Spirit Airlines was arrested after he repeatedly asked female flight attendants to join the Mile High Club, even though Spirit's airplanes can't get above 300 feet. Gladstone's nomination comes after several Native American actors were snubbed in the past, including Johnny Depp in Lone Ranger.
The Japanese movie Godzilla -1 received a surprise Oscar nomination for its visual effects. Also receiving nominations, the Godzilla prequel, Oppenheimer.
Discovered what is believed to be the world's oldest message in a bottle, which was thrown into the sea over 130 years ago by a then middle-aged Bernie Sanders. How is no one keeping track of how many guns people own? There is a real law in Texas that says it's illegal to own more than 6 dildos. And I get why. No one needs that many. If you have more than 6 dildos, it's a clear sign you are training for something awful. Apple has announced that it will add hundreds of new emojis to its iOS system, including a person at a spa, a vomiting face, and a shushing finger, finally giving emoji fans the ability to describe what it was like to work for Harvey Weinstein.
You get a crunch and you got a chalupa. Big deal. What are you so afraid that Joe Biden's going to do? What, free the slaves again? Hey, Collins, did you know my tie has a clip-on? I've been wanting to say that all year.
The aftermath. Well, a new report ranks the New York City subway system as the best in the country. This was according to Masturbating Hobo Monthly.
Just love guns so much. It's not true. 78% of Americans don't even own a gun. And 3% of Americans own 50% of all the guns in the country. That's the problem, that whiny 3% that needs to feel secure all the time. That's why I think we should do a buyback program. For every gun you trade in, we give you 1/2 inch of penis enlargement.
Is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. And a black Superman actually makes a lot of sense when you remember that Superman was abandoned by his parents as a baby.
Their long-running instant messenger service will shut down for good in December. AOL's announcement said simply, goodbye.
This week marks 2 years since the beginning of the first COVID lockdown. And let's just say some people have handled the stress better than others.
This week marks the start of, okay, but what about a White History Month? Yeah, so we're making each other read jokes live on air that the other person has never seen before.
Oh, God. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a look-alike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart.
Reported that last year the population of China declined by 850,000 people, thanks to an increase in China's leading cause of death, protesting. China plans to reverse the population decline with an emergency import of Nick Cannon.
A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? Tennis star Andy Murray was upset after an umpire at the Australian Open refused to let him take a bathroom break during a 5-set long match. Worse, it was deuce. The U.S. Department of the Interior has changed the name of Squaw Valley, California, because it is considered a derogatory term for Native American women. Okay, I don't understand how that name gets changed, and yet no one cares there's an entire town in New York that mocks my people.
A new study finds that frogs in the rainforest have a higher pitch call than urban frogs. The study also finds that female frogs be shopping. I stand by that joke.
Due to a computer error, a school in Massachusetts has been unable to turn off its lights for over a year and a half. The students are doing fine, but the classroom hamster has gone insane.
A San Francisco panel studying reparations is proposing giving every black resident a one-time payment of $5 million. Well, that's a fantastic idea, said the Gucci store.
The location of Sex Island, which is a 4-day drug-fueled event featuring prostitutes and an exclusive resort, has been revealed to be an island off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago. This, according to the plane ticket I saw in Shay's hand.
See you there. The CDC is warning people to not eat raw cookie dough because it may contain germs that can cause severe diarrhea. But on the bright side, you can eat cookie dough without ever gaining weight. In and out.
It was reported that the Boy Scouts of America are considering filing for bankruptcy in the face of declining membership. Yeah, apparently there's some problem with their business model of hoping parents will pay adult strangers to take their children deep into the woods. It was announced that the Broadway musical Avenue Q about raunchy puppets will close in the spring after 15 years. But if you still want to go see raunchy puppets, just head to Times Square and watch Elmo kicking pigeon.
The inflation rate in the U.S. reached 8.5% in March. To cover the higher prices, millions of families have been forced to take out a second OnlyFans account.
Google Earth has released a new feature that allows people to see a time lapse of how their neighborhood has changed over the last 40 years. Don't remind me, said my grandpa.
Video was posted of a police officer in San Francisco pulling over a driverless car, then the car driving away after the officer saw no one was behind the wheel. Even more amazing, he still managed to shoot an unarmed black guy.
Firefighters in Texas saved more than 100 snakes, including pythons and boa constrictors from a burning home. Said the homeowner, "Cool, so where's my wife?" The World Health Organization is changing the name of monkeypox to mpox due to concerns that the original could be considered racist, which I didn't even really think was an issue, but now I'm just wondering, what's the N in N95? A zoo in Atlanta will allow visitors to carry firearms. So you want to try laughing at me again, monkeys?
What happened to you, man? After this year's elections, a record-setting 12 states will have female governors, while the other 38 states will have dinner ready on time. Merriam-Webster announced that its word of the year is gaslighting. Gaslighting, if you don't know, is a word my ex made up to magically win arguments that she was losing. The Senate passed the Respect for Marriage Act, which solidifies federal protections for interracial marriages. Okay, but if I marry a white lady, who's going to protect me from my mother? Tensions are on the rise after North Korea launched more than 20 missiles into the ocean, and all because the Little Mermaid is black. It's not real.
Tomorrow is the New York City Marathon, or as Fox News will report it, undocumented Africans run wild in streets of New York. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. A new report shows that Loma Linda, California is the city most likely to become a blue zone, which is an area where people are healthier and live longer, while the town least likely to become a blue zone is once again Breakfast Fettuccine, Texas.
In Monday's Iowa caucuses, Ron DeSantis beat out Nikki Haley for second place. Well, that ought to put whatever this is on his face. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who looks like someone drew Ving Rhames with their eyes closed, endorsed Donald Trump. But remember, most Trump supporters only count him as 3/5 of an endorsement. Oh, boy.
And earlier today, Mike Pence officially ended his presidential campaign. He made the decision after he consulted with God, and God said, "Dude, you're embarrassing both of us."
A new poll shows President Biden and Donald Trump are tied in a hypothetical 2024 rematch, though they're both running 50 points behind. Kill me. The Supreme Court is addressing recent allegations of ethical lapses by adopting a new code of conduct, replacing their old code of conduct, money up front, no kissing on the mouth. Senator Tim Scott announced that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. With Scott gone, the most prominent black Republican is once again the Blacks for Trump guy. All right, whatever. Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign got a major boost after Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds endorsed him. Also giving DeSantis a lift, his leather hooker boots. The FBI has launched a corruption investigation into New York Mayor Eric Adams by seizing 2 of his cell phones, one named Work Phone and the other named Shorties and Shady Stuff. Ron DeSantis reportedly spent $1.5 million on private jets in just over 3 months because when he flies commercial, they make him take off his heels in front of everybody. Justice Amy Coney Barrett said that she wouldn't mind seeing a code of conduct instituted for the Supreme Court, while Clarence Thomas said that he wouldn't mind seeing what she's working with under that robe. John Kerry announced that he is stepping down as the U.S. climate envoy and is expected to focus on President Biden's re-election campaign. And it's not a great sign that Biden's campaign is a bigger emergency than climate change. In an interview on Fox News, presidential candidate Nikki Haley said that America has, quote, never been a racist country. Because if Americans were so racist, why did they have sex with their slaves? Nikki Haley received an endorsement from New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu, which would be helpful if anyone knew who that was. A new report shows that for the first time, the majority of billionaires last year received their fortunes through family inheritance. And not to brag, but I inherited my family's learning disabilities.
Donald Trump posted an image of Nikki Haley made up to look like Hillary Clinton. And honestly, I couldn't tell if it was bad Photoshop or a good picture of Mark Cuban in a wig. Pope Francis called for a ban on surrogate motherhood, which he says violates the dignity of the woman and the child. Plus, the Catholic Church doesn't want extra kids around while they're trying to quit.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has proposed a new policy permanently banning mask mandates and vaccine requirements, saying, when the world lost its mind, Florida was a refuge of sanity. Then everyone in the crowd took a hit of nitrous and bit a cop.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who always looks like someone told him to go home and get his shine box, signed a bill that allows Florida residents to carry concealed guns without a permit because Florida is dangerous and you just never know when someone is going to run up to you and say gay.
Donald Trump responded to reports that Ron DeSantis will run against him for the Republican nomination, saying, we'll handle this the way I handle things. So rough and without consent. Well, other than that, it's a good plan.
Donald Trump visited East Palestine, the site of the recent train derailment, because Trump usually tries to make himself look better by standing next to a train wreck. The train that derailed was carrying highly toxic vinyl chloride, which I think is something Trump recommended as a cure for COVID.
Republican insiders are concerned that the rivalry between Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis could lead to a civil war within the party, which is perfect because they already have the flags.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who thinks he's Gaston, but girl, you LeFou. Ron DeSantis, I'm shaking. Ron DeSantis said Florida officials would not help extradite Trump back to New York unless, of course, he agrees to take a busload of migrants with him. And while visiting the disaster site, Trump also gave out bottles of Trump brand water, said residents, thanks, but we'd rather drink the toxic train water. I just love that Trump is the one who rolled back train safety standards when he was president, and now he's giving the victims bottles of water. What's next? Is he going to visit all the migrant kids he put in cages and give them a gift card to Dave & Buster's?
In the wake of the Nashville shooting, President Biden once again called on Congress to pass an assault weapons ban. Or, hear me out, stop and frisk for whites. How long before these kids earn a stereotype?
Rupert Murdoch this week officially turned on Donald Trump. First, the New York Post ran a cover calling Ron DeSantis Ron DeFuture, even though Ron DeFuture sounds more like a drag queen from outer space. Then on Thursday, the Post showed Donald Trump as an egg sitting on a wall with the headline Trumpty Dumpty, which had to be the easiest Photoshop job in history.
Democratic Representative Jamal Bowman and Republican Thomas Massey got into a screaming match on Capitol Hill after Bowman called the GOP gutless cowards for opposing gun control, which is a cheap shot because if there's one thing Republicans definitely have, it's big old guts.
And now Trump is threatening to reveal unflattering information about Ron DeSantis. For example, did you know Ron DeSantis is in charge of a state where some maniac was hiding stolen nuclear secrets?
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg visited the site of the train derailment and was criticized for wearing leather dress boots. But give him a break. That's all they had at Baby Gap.
Trump has also been promoting a song called Justice for All, which features himself and a choir of men jailed for their roles in the January 6th attack. And I feel bad for the January 6th singers because, you know, jail gets a lot worse once the other prisoners find out you're in an a cappella group.
Wednesday was International Women's Day. I said was. Next joke. A new study finds that some New York City rats carry the virus that causes COVID, which is why I always order mine well done.
Well, guys, The New York City Department of Sanitation has launched its first campaign in 15 years with messages such as, if you litter, you're garbage, which is actually dialed back from the original version. Your litter belongs in the trash next to your whore wife.
Police in England are now using specially trained dogs to detect semen at crime scenes. This replaces the old method of detecting semen, slipping on it.
At Virginia Commonwealth University, a professor is being sued following revelations that he spanked one of his students. It was the student's parents who first became suspicious when they asked, "What kind of marks are you getting?" And she replied, "Big red ones on my ass."
A group of hikers in Great Britain had to be rescued when they got lost after taking psychedelic mushrooms. More embarrassing, they never actually left the house.
A 67-year-old woman in China gave birth this week. The birth set a record for most friction. See, you guys don't realize it, but that joke took me like 4 hours to write.
A new study finds that the average child throws a tantrum 4 times a week. Weeknights on Fox.
Well, tennis player, ophthalmologist, transsexual Dr. Renee Richards is writing a book about her life. It is tentatively titled Tennis Without Balls.
A proposed bill in California would create an alert system for missing black women and kids. This is in addition to the alert system for missing white women and kids, the news.
Finally, in Burien, Washington, elementary school teacher Mary Kay Letourneau pled guilty this week to having sex with a 6th grade student whose child she bore in May. Miss Letourneau has been branded as a sex offender, or as the kids refer to her, the greatest teacher ever.
A new study suggests that the average man exaggerates the length of their penis by more than 20%. But aren't you supposed to add 20% for tip?
NASA has named the 4 astronauts it will send on the Artemis II mission to the moon. And if things go wrong, I think I know who's dying first. Oh, he could do the Hitler salute.
An 89-year-old Japanese man has been recognized as the oldest male surfer ever. He truly embodies the surfing lifestyle because every part of his body hangs loose. Apple has launched a new feature called Pay Later that lets users spread out payments for apps over the course of 6 weeks. And this has also launched my new favorite insult, Yo mama's so poor she put Candy Crush on layaway.
H&M has apologized after using a black child to model a sweatshirt with the logo Coolest Monkey in the Jungle. Worse, the shirt was made by the saddest child in the sweatshop. I said worse.
Yeah.
Before he collapsed on stage, Michael Jackson sold some of his publishing rights for $100 million. Do you have any idea how much $100 million can buy these days? 5 free molestings. That's right. It's a deal.
Sad story from the world of entertainment this week. Talk show host Ricki Lake had to get rid of her dog Dudley after the pooch became too aggressive with her 7-month-old son Milo. A clearly saddened Lake said, "It broke my heart to get rid of that dog, but he was delicious."
An Arizona woman was arrested after she allegedly went day drinking while her 5-month-old child was sitting home alone, like a loser.
Officials are warning hikers to stay away from a volcano in New Zealand, saying there are signs it may erupt. Signs like when locals heard the volcano whisper, "Oh, I'm so close."
Getting worse. A woman flying to Detroit said she woke up to a pastor urinating on her, which explains why her dream was about her being baptized.
Finally, this Christmas, Santa Claus will be starting a new look at up-to-date shopping malls around the country. They will now feature black Santas, Asian Santas, Hispanic Santas, and even Middle Eastern Santas. It is all part of a program to make little children cry.
Let's start in Pennsylvania with Dr. Oz, seen here telling the audience how many minutes he's lived in Pennsylvania. A review of scientific studies published by Dr. Oz revealed that his experiments killed over 300 dogs, but eventually he got the recipe right. Dr. Oz has refused to comment on the report that his research killed over 300 dogs, though it's possible he couldn't hear the question over the wood chipper. But don't worry, Dr. Oz won everybody back last night when he gave a speech in front of Hitler's car. Worse, he then got into the car and backed over a dog. Tuesday was National Puppy Day, unfortunately at Subway.
Ugandan President Idi Amin announced he will undergo a species change operation in an effort to become a human being. If the operation is successful, Amin says he will pursue a career on American television. If it is not successful, he will eat American television.
Doctors in Nepal saved a man after he inserted a water glass into his rectum for sexual gratification and it got stuck. But I think the man actually felt positive about the experience because he said the glass was half full.
Cup Noodles has introduced a new breakfast version of their instant ramen that mixes the flavors of sausage, maple syrup, pancakes, and eggs. The flavor will be called Mom Left.
3 years ago, an 11-year-old British schoolgirl put a message in a bottle and tossed it into the Atlantic Ocean. Well, this week she was astounded to receive a reply from halfway around the world. Sadly, the reply read, "You're 11, what are you wearing?"
Two 81-year-old women have traveled the world in 80 days after the post office lost their ashes.
Police in Oregon are warning residents about several hand grenades that have washed ashore on a beach. The hand grenades were discovered when one beachgoer said, "Mommy, look at this shell I found."
After his arraignment, Donald Trump spoke to supporters at Mar-a-Lago and said there was a very dark cloud over our beloved country, which is also what he used to call Obama.
While in the hospital, Michael Jackson had his room specially decorated with 2 huge photos of Shirley Temple. But don't get the wrong idea here. Michael Jackson is a homosexual pedophile.
Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones is under fire over a picture of him from 1957 where he looks on as black students are stopped from entering his school. Okay, so maybe Jerry Jones was a racist back then. But tell me this, would a racist own a team full of the strongest black men he could buy to work on his field? No, right? The answer's no. A new report shows that female doctors over the course of their careers make $2 million less than men. Oh, that's just not right. I mean, female doctors?
And police in Australia arrested a man after he was caught at a bus stop masturbating for over an hour. Australia, where the police let you finish.
In a new documentary, Pope Francis praises the virtues of sex, calling it one of the beautiful things that God has given to the human person. Not the way I do it. Doctors in China removed more than 120 magnetic beads swallowed by a 5-year-old boy. Wow. Wait till his boss at the factory hears about this. A Virginia man who pranks people for YouTube videos was shot while tricking someone in a mall. Good. A 106-year-old woman.
In what many people are calling a high point of his term, President Biden gave multiple speeches this week in which he issued the same strong warning to anyone thinking about attacking Israel. And here was his message.
Don't.
I won't.
A man in Utah was ordered to remove a Halloween decoration of a skeleton pole dancing, and I'm sorry, but that just looks like every white strip club to me.
Michigan State apologized after an image of Adolf Hitler appeared on a stadium video board at a football game. Even more upsetting, it was during the kiss cam.
New research suggests that Viagra can help lower a man's chances of developing Alzheimer's by 60%, thanks to an effect researchers are calling post-nut clarity.
The world's oldest dog ever has died at the age of 31.
Aww.
And some experts believe it could have lived even longer if I had looked before backing out of the driveway. Southwest Airlines has introduced a new feature on its app that lets passengers track their bags. Southwest, why don't you tell us where your bag is?
If convicted, Hunter Biden could be sentenced to up to 17 years in prison, which would be the first time any Biden has successfully completed a sentence.
And yesterday on Truth Social, Trump posted a courtroom sketch of him sitting next to Jesus. Because if there's one guy whose trial famously ended well, it's Jesus. After President Biden's successful meeting with China's President Xi Jinping, reporters asked Biden if he still believed that Xi was a dictator. And I don't know if Biden was supposed to say yes, because look at this reaction from Secretary of State Antony Blinken.
Did you still refer to President Xi as a dictator? This is a term that you used earlier this year.
Well, look, he is.
Yesterday was National No Bra Day, and boy, was I dizzy.
A federal indictment issued this week against Hunter Biden alleges that he evaded paying over $1 million of taxes between 2016 and 2020. And they're only catching him now? Man, this is super embarrassing for whoever was president from 2016 to 2020.
Insiders are concerned that President Biden's chances for re-election could be damaged by his unwavering support for Israel. But I think the bigger problem for Biden is that he is 6 years older than Israel.
Alaska Airlines has announced plans to buy Hawaiian Airlines for nearly $2 billion. Alaska and Hawaiian combined will be called Technically American Airlines.
The second largest Hindu temple in the world has opened in New Jersey. Hindu leaders believe the temple ended up in New Jersey because it did something terrible in a former life.
California has become the first state in the country to enact ebony alerts to help find missing black children. And I'll save you some time. They're not with their fathers. Oh, you like that? Well, here's another. California has become the first state in the country to issue ebony alerts when a black child goes missing. And hopefully the police find them before I do.
New Jersey police recaptured an escaped pig named Albert Einstein. They call him Albert Einstein because compared to people in New Jersey, pigs are geniuses.
Some Google users are upset after the company's AI software mistakenly labeled innocent pictures of their children as child porn. This is completely unacceptable, said people who were looking for real child porn.
A new study finds that the top reason more teenage boys are virgins is that they haven't found the right person yet, which suggests a critical nationwide shortage on skanks. A new study finds that despite women making less money than men, more single women in the U.S. own homes than single men, thanks to a phenomenon economists call divorce.
Divorce.
Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom.
For the first time ever, two brothers will be facing off against each other in the Super Bowl. Incidentally, two brothers in the Super Bowl is why my grandfather won't be watching.
On February, man, wow. Mental health experts are now recommending that children start being screened for anxiety when they are 8 years old, because it can be pretty stressful down at that old iPhone factory.
Wildlife officials in Tennessee have captured a 500-pound black bear living on a college campus. A black bear that, let's face it, took the spot of more deserving white and Asian bears.
Elon Musk offered to buy Twitter for over $40 billion so he can loosen its free speech rules. That's how badly white guys want to use the N-word. A New Jersey man was arrested after he ran over a woman multiple times in a road rage incident. Said the woman, sorry, sorry. A 220-carat diamond known as the Rock will become the largest white diamond ever auctioned off. Wow, 220 carats. I mean, can you imagine the size of the child who mined that? It's huge, man.
I don't know. A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? You're going to get me murdered. I want to switch it up a little. Che didn't write this one. This is all me.
To hear this.
Last week was National Rosa Parks Day, or as we call it in my house, uppity bus passenger day.
Oh, you're gonna get letters about that one. Virginia has become the first state in the South to abolish the death penalty. So if you'll excuse me, I've got some white women to whistle at. Mel Gibson is reportedly in talks to direct a new Lethal Weapon movie. But if you want to see a broken down black guy team up with a handsome racist, just watch Weekend Update. A growing number of NFL players are filling up their off time by playing chess with each other. And also, let's see here, domestic violence. how they're spending their time, Colin.
This week, Britain's most eligible bachelor, Prince Andrew, officially deleted his Twitter account after he realized that's not the app with all the dancing teenagers.
FD has introduced pumpkin spice scented trash bags, and I gotta say, pumpkin spice scented trash bags is probably the best slur for white people I've ever heard. After it allowed users to talk with Jesus and Hitler and one guy who thinks he's both. This is just news, guys. Wednesday was National Coffee with a Cop Day. And something tells me cops like their coffee black with a couple of shots in it.
Oh my God.
New York City is now requiring employers to disclose salary ranges in all job listings. Employers must list everything ranging from the top salary all the way down to the female salary.
A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
I wouldn't have said that.
A student in Texas, who is nicknamed White Lightning, set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds. German researchers have recorded the shortest interval of time for an event to begin and end. The event finished so quickly, scientists have named it Che.
Oh, this is fun. An alligator in Florida was photographed swimming with a football in its mouth. Turning now to sports news, Tom Brady is missing.
A personal injury attorney in Florida allegedly drove her car into 4 people. Said the attorney, "Have you been injured in an accident?" A new lawsuit accuses Burger King of falsely advertising their Whoppers as bigger than what people actually get. It's the same accusation made in the case of Women versus Michael Che. It was reported that after Morgan Wallen lost his recording contract when he was caught on video using the N-word, sales for his albums rose over 1,000%, proving my long-held theory that if NBC would just let me say it, the ratings will go up.
A police officer in New York State. A police officer in New York State is being called the baby whisperer after he helped deliver his 5th baby in 9 years. Only 5 babies in 9 years, said Nick Cannon.
Okay, there you are. Okay. A 10-year-old boy in Florida faces misdemeanor battery charges after he allegedly touched a teacher's breast, because under Florida law, students are required to wait for their teacher to make the first move. The Los Angeles Zoo announced that Evelyn, a 46-year-old gorilla famous for her red hair, has been euthanized. Not because she was sick, but because it's LA and she was in her 40s. The World Health Organization is changing the name of monkeypox to mpox due to concerns that the original could be considered racist, which I didn't even really think was an issue, but now I'm just wondering, what's the N in N95?
After this year's election, a record-setting 12 states will have female governors, while the other 38 states will have dinner ready on time. France announced that it will start providing free condoms for people between the ages of 18 and 25. Cool. Now do deodorant.
Tomorrow is the New York City Marathon, or as Fox News will report it, undocumented Africans went wild in streets of New York.
white student at the University of Kentucky was arrested after she was caught on video using a racial slur and assaulting 2 black students. She has been charged with 1 count of impersonating a police officer.
I don't know if you guys saw it today. Morocco beat Portugal in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. It is, it's the best World Cup performance by a team of Africans since the unpaid workers who built the stadiums. I didn't do it. In a speech yesterday, Herschel Walker called America the greatest country in the United States. But on the plus side, at least he has a general idea of where he is.
Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving was suspended after he tweeted a link to the anti-Semitic film Hebrew to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. You know, Hebrew to Negroes was also the name of my favorite R&B group in the 90s. This week marks the 40th anniversary of the classic Michael Jackson album Thriller. And say what you will about Michael Jackson, but he definitely had a huge effect on a lot of people's childhoods. I don't know what you guys like anymore.
The U.S. Air Force is denying that its pilots intentionally flew a flight path that created a giant penis pointed at Russia. Even worse, they then fired missiles.
Wednesday was National Coffee with a Cop Day, and something tells me cops like their coffee with a couple of shots in it.
The chief, well, you're not going to like this. The chief of the Cherokee Nation is calling on car maker Jeep to stop using the tribe's name on its vehicles. So Jeep has agreed to change the name to, wow, the Aunt Jemima Mobile.
A school in Virginia is returning a wallet to a woman 70 years after she lost it in a school gym. Well, how do you like that? Said a black man still in jail for stealing it.
It's getting worse. A woman flying to Detroit said she woke up to a pastor urinating on her, which explains why her dream was about her being baptized.
Fisher-Price has launched an online museum showcasing its toys over the past 90 years. Or you can see them in person at America's most famous toy museum, the Neverland Ranch.
This week, there was a full moon known as the Beaver Moon, which can be seen about a month after a waxing moon.
That's a good joke. That's a good joke. Residents in Rome are upset after a wild boar and her 6 piglets were killed on a playground near the Vatican. But it's like they say, nothing good ever happens on a playground near the Vatican. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
One of Hugh Hefner's former girlfriends revealed that the Playboy Mansion is haunted. She knew it was haunted because if you turn on a black light, you see ectoplasm everywhere.
Officials in Colorado are searching for the man who was reportedly harassing a moose by chasing it down the street. Said the man, "I like my girls thick."
A Brazilian man had to undergo emergency surgery after he got a 4-pound dumbbell stuck in his anus. He then shoved it back up there and said, 2. Anyway, that's why you always wipe down the equipment.
An Arizona woman suffered more than 20 bee stings after a heavy wind blew a beehive onto her head. But tragically, no one filmed it.
And Hostess is unveiling new flavors of their snack cakes, including white fudge ding-dongs. Coincidentally, white fudge ding-dongs is what they call Weekend Update in China.
A new study finds that frogs in the rainforest have a higher pitch call than urban frogs. The study also finds that female frogs be shopping.
For the entire month of May, Applebee's is serving a margarita for $1 called the Dollarita, after which you're guaranteed to come down with a case of Dollaria.
A new study shows that people with a vegetarian diet may live longer. Okay, but for what?
A popular new trend in Los Angeles are party goats, which are goats that are brought to parties and jump on people's backs. Meanwhile, in China, a popular new trend is studying math and science.
Domino's is reducing the number of chicken wings included in their meals, and I really wish I'd known that before I had my delivery guy fired for stealing.
To be fair to Judge Kavanaugh, it's insane that he has to answer questions about his high school yearbook. If you looked into anyone's high school yearbook, you'd find something super embarrassing. Like, I regret that my senior quote was a Smash Mouth lyric, and I very much regret that my hairstyle was the Rachel. Planned Parenthood says it will soon open its first mobile abortion clinic in the country, which will make it easier to provide care to patients anywhere in the country that Herschel Walker has visited.
Police in Queens were searching for a suspect who hijacked a bus and then immediately crashed it into a utility pole. Okay, so we know it's a woman. Is that bad?
No, that's great.
Pebbles, who was the world's oldest living dog, has died at the age of 22. But it's okay. His owners knew this was coming if they didn't keep him off my yard. Police in Ohio say that a report of a homeless man sleeping on a bench turned out to be a statue, which was a huge relief because they shot it 15 times.